Hello fellow commanders, and welcome to my first proper video of a gameplay video of Strategic Command World War One. I did do a preview video yesterday which I put up, and if you might want to check that out before watching this video, actually, if you want to see what the games are all about and what's going to be coming up in the kind of first few episodes of the game and what to expect in this playthrough and in this game. I am playing with the press release version of the game, so there might be a few minor changes, balancing, a couple of bugs that are dealt with before release, but on the whole this is going to be the game as it will be when it's released, with possibly a few minor changes. So we're going to head straight into a single player game. There's currently 2 campaigns in the game, and there will be a third added on release, and the release date is the 5th of December 2019. We're going to be playing 1914 Call to Arms. The Call to Arms has been issued and Europe is at war. The Great War has begun. We could do the Triple Alliance, which is quite an interesting one, and I probably will do that probably when I play as the Entente. We're going to play as the Central Powers for this playthrough, but this one we'll see who will win when Italy enters the war on the side of the Central Powers. So that's going to be an interesting one, I think, to play actually when you play the Entente, to make the Entente gameplay a little bit more difficult. So we're going to be playing Call to Arms, and we're going to be playing as, when it comes up, as the Central Powers. Now you can let the AI play some of the countries if you want to, whether you're playing the Entente or the Central Powers, but we're going to be playing with all the countries: Germany, Austria-Hungary and the Ottomans when they eventually come into the game. We're going to be playing on intermediate difficulty, which is the default difficulty for the game. I could play it at a higher difficulty, but I don't. It just kind of, all that does, well, what that does is it makes the AI stronger, gives them overstrength units when you come up against them, stuff like that, which is really good if you're a decent player. I'm kind of an average, I would say average to decent kind of player, maybe a little bit better than average, but I don't want to be messing about too long trying to make moves and things. I want it to be move along fairly swiftly, as swift as it can be for a World War One trench warfare game, to make the playthrough a little bit more interesting. So we're going to leave it on intermediate difficulty. There's a number of options you can change. I'm not going to go through them all. I will just mention though I'm going to be using the land counter and naval counter styles as in the boxes there. You can use the NATO if you wish, but I prefer to use the actual tiles because you can kind of get a look at the graphics of the ships and the land-based units and the planes and stuff like that. There's lots of advanced stuff as well. Again, I'm not going to go through it all. I generally leave this all as difficulty, including the build limits. If you've played before, you'll know what that means. And as I say, I'll probably do a review on this game once I've played through a few episodes and got a few more hours in the game, and then I'll go through all of the options and the menus when I do that. So we're going to start, I think, with those, all the default options ticked. We've got some nice coverage in the newspapers of our war as it begins. Okay, so here we are. Deploy your armies for victory. Most of our army is now mobilized, but some units remain to be deployed. Some options on deploying these are to deploy them and strike hard in the west, to strengthen your forces in the east, to deploy them in the south and send them to take part in the conquest of Serbia. That's tempting. Believe me, that's very tempting. Choose wisely, because this is probably the most important decision you will have to make in the coming conflict. If you select auto deploy, they'll just deploy themselves in their historical positions. Okay, so we've got quite a few units to deploy. We've got an artillery piece, a commander, 2 cavalry and 2 infantry units. We're going to definitely deploy them ourselves, and we'll have a quick look around the map to see where we want to deploy them. Now, the game said you can deploy them in the west here, which they are all German units, by the way. You can deploy them in the west here, so we can strike against the French fairly hard, but we have got quite a lot of units there already, although perhaps having the cavalry on that side to deploy to rush into towards Brussels might be useful. We're going to be fending off the Russian attack on the eastern front, where they would be useful as well, or we could help Austria-Hungary crush the Serbians, or try to crush the Serbians, because they are fairly decent, to be honest. Small force, but fairly decent units. Now, I'm really tempted to try to take the Serbians out, and I'm going to tell you the plans I'm going to do. So it's going to be kind of a longish turn for the first one because I want to explain my strategy in this game, which I think will set things out rather nicely. And I want to try to take the Serbians out as quickly as possible. The reason for that bit is that it will free up our Austrian-Hungary army to take on the Russians and also the Italians when they eventually come into the war as well. So I'm going to give them a bit of a hand. Unfortunately, I am going to have to deploy them right back here and move them towards Serbia, but the Austrian-Hungary units will be able to deal with Serbia until the units get there. Now I'm just wondering what to do with my cavalry. Now the cavalry, I'm thinking actually, I think we're going to put, let's remind ourselves what we've got. Yeah, we'll send our infantry I think down to help against Serbia. That'll be the best thing over there. So we'll bang in an infantry unit there, and we'll bang another infantry unit in there, and I'm also going to send the artillery unit down over there as well, and von Bülow, our HQ, because they're going to be on the attack, and you need commanders when you're on the attack. They really do give your units a bit of a boost. Right, now on the western front I'm going to deploy, I think at least one of my cavalry units and possibly both of them, so we can strike into Brussels. So it might be useful to have a cavalry unit over here to help out a little bit as well. No, I think I'm going to put them both over here so we can strike out and try to do some serious damage to the Frenchies while we can. So that's our deployment. So that's a good thing about the game. So it gives you a few options at the start of your campaign. Our immediate priorities. A successful advance into Serbia, seizing Belgrade and Niš, will encourage Bulgaria to enter the war on our side. We must also hold our eastern frontier, for Russian advances may entice Romania into entering the war against us. Okay, so we've got to watch out for Romania, and we've got to try and get Bulgaria onto our side using diplomacy and also by defeating the Serbians, it seems. Romania is also an important food source, so war with that country could lead to hunger and low morale at home. So basically we're going to have to take out Romania as quickly as we possibly can once they're in the war, because they are going to decrease our morale, which is mega important in this game. The whole game is based around country or nation morales, and you get their morale down to 0 and they surrender basically, and there's a number of ways in which you can get their morale down, and I'll explain that a little bit later. We must therefore advance into Serbia while also holding our eastern front as securely as possible. Okay, so you're getting the idea. Unlike Strategic Command World War II, you're not going to be able to blitz through everywhere in the early game as Germany. It's much more a static kind of attritional combat. It's really good. I've played it quite a lot in the beta already. It works very, very well. Delaying the conflict with the UK. Violating the neutrality of Belgium, the Netherlands and Denmark will automatically bring the British into the war. Sending any naval units, including submarines, anywhere near the British coast in the North Sea or the Atlantic will also provoke them. So take care if you hope to delay Britain's entry into the war, as without provocation it is likely the British will remain neutral for the first month. So we can delay the first few turns the Brits come in if we don't declare war on Belgium and steam straight in, which I'm considering to do it. The importance of the Netherlands. Imperial Germany's war economy relies on goods imported from the neutral Netherlands. It is therefore vital that we keep the Dutch friendly to us, using diplomacy if necessary, as it is solely due to her friendly neutral status that she can import goods that would otherwise be deprived to us. If the Netherlands were to enter the war on either side or swing towards favouring the Entente, then we would lose those vital imports and our people could face food shortages. Okay, basically what that means is do not attack the Netherlands. Do not make war on the Netherlands. They are providing us with a number of points and military power points, MPPs, per turn, and if you invade the Netherlands you will lose all those MPPs straight away at the start of the game. That would be a disaster. So if you wanted, you could attack Belgium. That would be a good opening move. I'm not going to do that actually. I'm going to concentrate on other things for the first few turns, including my research, which I want to get going, and I'm going to leave and try to keep the Netherlands neutral. Britain or the Allies, I call them the Allies, I should call them Entente. Now the Entente will probably try to take the Netherlands away from us. I doubt they'll invade it, but they may try to do that via diplomatic means, and we're going to have to counter those diplomatic moves when they happen. You can see Germany's got a really sizable, really strong navy in this game at the start. Got a couple of battleships. We've got 3 battleships stroke dreadnoughts. Well, 3. Are these the actual dreadnoughts? These are the actual dreadnoughts. We've got 3 dreadnoughts. We've also, I think, yeah, we've got a battleship there, another battleship there, and a number of others. Got a few, only 1 submarine. Okay. Oh, we've got another one back there, over there. In Königsberg we've got some destroyers, and the destroyers now can put mines in the seas as well. You've got a limited number of mines, but you can put them anywhere on a sea tile, on a water tile, as far as I know, or a sea tile should I say. And we've got a couple of cruisers and stuff hanging around as well. We'll have a look at those shortly. We've also got some units up there near Denmark. We're probably not going to want to be bothering to attack Denmark just now. We've also, I'll just point out as well, that a lot of Germany's income comes from external sources, such as the Netherlands, a convoy route from Norway, so we've got to look after Norway, and also another convoy route from Sweden, so we're also going to have to look after Sweden and try to stop that getting into the Entente's hands, as well as Norway. So lots of income coming from external sources, as well as all of our industry and cities that we've got in our home country as well. So we've put our units down. Let's see what we're going to do. I'm actually going to start. Oh, I just mentioned Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary is going to be probably defending onslaughts of mass attacks from Russian infantry, as will the Germans on the eastern front over near Königsberg. Now, I did mention national morale, and that's kind of how you win the game, by whacking your enemy's national morale down. And each of the countries starts off with a certain amount of national morale. If you go over their flag, as on the top left hand of the screen, you can see that Germany has a current national morale of 50,000. The Austrian-Hungaries have a current national morale of 32,000, and the Ottomans 22,000. And every time, there's a number of ways basically of getting national morale down: by damaging and destroying units, ground units and naval units. And if you destroy naval units, you get a big national morale bonus, and it hurts the national morale of your enemy twice as much as when killing or destroying or damaging a land unit. You can take ground, although taking ground isn't as important as it was in Strategic Command World War II. There's a number of national morale objectives. Most of them are fairly near the borders, which kind of is obvious, so that encourages the World War I kind of trench warfare, where most of your battling is going to take place, and you're going to be trying to capture these national morale bonuses scattered in and around near the borders of your countries of your empire. So that's it, national morale, killing enemy units. And the other way is by blockading, using shipping. So the Brits, for example, can blockade here. Here's the northern blockade, and can blockade stuff getting to Germany, and they can also blockade on this route over here, but just by placing ships on them, and that will have an effect on Germany's national morale each turn. And of course, as Germany has a big navy, then they'll be able to respond to the also very, very big navy of the Brits. So you can look forward to some juicy naval action in this particular scenario in the Atlantic and North Sea. Now, the Germans can also blockade. I think it's called something. I can't quite remember what it is. Total something warfare, and the Germans can also, I believe, go onto these objectives over here, which means, is that right? Yeah, that's right, all over here and down here, which means that stops kind of aid, mainly from the USA, I suppose, getting to Britain, and you can damage Britain's, I'm not sure if you damage their production or damage their national morale. I can't quite remember on that one, but certainly it's one or the other. But the main way to get the enemy's national morale down is killing units, especially for the Central Powers, killing damaging units and taking these national morale objectives. Okay, breathe. Right, I've explained everything. We're going to start off, I think, by heading on over and getting into position to attack Serbia. So Austria-Hungary's got a few nice cores down here. We want to be heading over towards Belgrade. Whether I attack Belgrade this turn, it's going to be quite, or just attack some of the units around and about Belgrade. I I think that's probably going to be the move, and getting things into position, ready to attack. So we'll move down here. Okay, so, and we'll move down to here, I think. Probably won't attack this turn because of, oh, we can actually move right into there. I think we'll do that. And I'm not going to, as I say, attack this turn. I'm going to entrench these guys. Now, if they don't use up, oh, I can't entrench because I've used up all my points. If you don't use up all your action points, you can actually entrench. So, for example, this one. So we'll entrench just there. It just helps against any attacks. And we'll entrench here as well. That's fine. And we'll entrench here. And that's fine as well. So that's cool. And we can't entrench that one, which is the one we really wanted to entrench. We'll also bring this guy forward here, and I'm going to do a little attack there. Not the best attack in the world, but it's worth doing because we've got to basically get the... Oh, we didn't even do any damage. Get the Serbs to take as much damage as we possibly can, so that they start using up their points, because they won't be getting that many. And I'm going to actually, I can move up into there. And I can do a 2-2, so we'll take that shot. And now it might be worth taking this one as well if... So 2-1. I'll take that as well. Oh, we've actually pushed them back a square. Unfortunately, we can't move anyone in there, but I will move my commander slightly forward. So, yeah, making inroads over towards Serbia, and we'll also start to bring down... In fact, I'll double move these Germans down. I'm not going to use... You can use strategic move, whereby you pay some military production points to zoom them across the railway lines, but that costs military production points. I don't want to do that at this stage, and we'll just slowly start to move forward our commander and our artillery pieces as well. Now down here as well we've got a reasonably good Austrian-Hungarian navy, although you can see some of them, like these battleships or down up here, are a little bit under strength at the moment. I'm not going to be wanting to spend points on them just yet. But what I will do is grab my destroyer and go and lay some mines down here to stop anyone sneaking up and taking some pot shots at us, although we've got to keep our guys with a route out as well. So I think if we go down to maybe down to here and lay ourselves some mines. Oh, we've only got one, is that right? Oh, okay, only got one mine. Well, I'm going to lay that there then, just outside Tirana. I might lay it, yeah, we'll lay that just outside Tirana. So it looks like the limit for the Austrian Hungarian Navy is just one mine, so that's okay. We'll move. Oh, I hope I can move that guy. What we'll do is, just to make sure he's protected from any British ships coming close, I'm just gonna, being careful not to run into the mine myself, which will do me damage. I'll just put my my sub there, and then I'm going to bring my big lovely battleship, or my dreadnought, down to here, and we're going to start to blockade Cetinje. And the trouble is, these aren't fully... I'll put this one across there. You need 2 units outside the port to blockade. I'll bring this armoured cruiser down as well, so we can blockade that port. And the rest I'm kind of just going to leave safely in port until I can buff up their hit points a little bit. So that's Austria-Hungary down near Serbia. Kind of set up, ready for action. No big action. Oh, yeah, I'll move those. Right, now let's check out over here. I'm not going to attack yet in the Western Front, I'm afraid. I'm going to leave it a few turns because I really want to get my research going with my MPPs rather than doing replacements of units. We haven't actually got any MPPs to spend just yet, so we're not going to be doing too much on the Western Front, but we can attack the French, which is probably what I'm going to do. So we're going to move up and attack the French. There's probably something in Verdun, so we want to have a peek at that. Now, cavalry now have reconnaissance values as well, so we're going to move a cavalry unit down. They can see 2 tiles, so we're going to move a cavalry unit down to Luxembourg, so we can take a peek at what's going on. And you can see there's a unit in Verdun. If you move a unit straight next to a unit and it exposes itself on the same turn, you get hit quite heavily, so you don't want to do that if you can really help it. And now I can probably use an infantry unit, take that industrial complex down near the Ardennes with a decent unit. Actually, I'll do it with this unit. No, I'll do it with this unit. But I'm not going to attack. You can see that is fortified, so we don't want to be heading into there anytime soon. But we need to get a front line established, and I've moved too far to entrench. I have, yeah, that's okay though. And then we'll move forward with this guy. Now, shall I move right forward? Now, if I don't use up all my points, I have the option of entrenching. So I'm going to move this guy. It's a little bit exposed there, but or shall we wait a turn and see if the French come forward? I think we'll do that. We'll wait to see if the French actually take the initiative and move towards us, I think. And so we can kind of hit them on the counter and then follow up with an attack. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll move this one nice and close up there. And we're kind of ready to move into Brussels and Belgium when the Brits declare, or when they get to 100% mobilised. So finally, we've got, oh yes, we've got all the German ships. We're going to send this sub up towards the North Sea. Now, I've got a choice with the German Navy. I like to cluster my Navy into kind of fleets and not use them kind of willy-nilly and small. I'm thinking I'm going to get my destroyer over and plant some mines and try and take out the Russian Navy first of all, I think. Also that will get some experience with our Navy. So we're going to send our dreadnoughts up over towards the Russians. The Russian Navy isn't very big, but it is what it has got. It's fairly potent, so you've got to be a little bit careful. I've got another sub over here which I can kind of stick in front just to protect those a little bit, if in case the Russians make a bit of an appearance. Yeah, we'll leave that there. And then I will get the destroyer in position, and I'm going to lay the mines up here somewhere, and we'll probably engage the Russian Navy up near the Gulf of Finland. And we can try to entice them into our mines then. Possibly. It might work, it might not. So we'll get our other destroyer over as well. In fact, we'll get all our level 10 ships over so they can help out for when the Russians come out to play. Yeah, one thing I do say is it's quite difficult to tell between a destroyer and a cruiser sometimes. A little bit difficult. They look very, very similar. The cruisers are a little bit bigger, but they just look similar to me. Let's move everything up. That's moved. And then this one will move into Mimil. We've got a battleship proper here. We'll move that forward. This is going to be a cruiser. Yeah, the Bismarck armoured cruiser. We'll move that over to there. I'll move this guy forward. What we've got left? Just another battleship which will move up. Alrighty, now we have got these two units as well, which I probably should move. I'm going to move these over towards the eastern front, I think. Get them moving. Got some Marines there as well. Now, we've only really got to do the eastern front now. So we're going to be defending more on the eastern front to start with, because the Russians are going to come at us hard. So we're going to start off trying to protect... We're not going to try and protect this oil field here, which is a national morale objective, I know, but it's going to be almost impossible to hold on to, I think, because the Russians are going to absolutely swamp us. So we're going to set up trenches here and hope these guys can survive the first turn or two. Spin that around, set our trenches up in the correct direction. We'll put these units here, and because we haven't used all the action points up, we can entrench here as well, which we shall do. Cool. And we've got a couple of nice cavalry pieces. We've got this guy which we shall entrench here, I think. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Always turn that the wrong way. And then I've got two cavalry units. I've got a bunch more infantry here. Again, not going to attack too hard at this stage. We'll leave this guy in... Or shall I? We'll move this guy into... Actually, we could do with another guy into Katowice, or I could move this one down there. I can move this one up there. We probably want someone up here, actually. Yeah, move him up there, and we'll give him a bit of an... Oh, we can't entrench him. Ah, damn. We've got no points to reinforce either. I would like someone, I think, on Katowice, just to make sure we keep hold of that. That's giving us some MPPs per turn. We'll put a unit into Krakow. Got a unit on Tarnow, which I'm going to just entrench as well. Alright, that should be okay. And then I've got a couple of cavalry units. I'll put one there and I'll put one in Piment so they can kind of get to the front line as and when they're needed. Oh, I've got another cavalry unit back here which we can move over towards the front line. In fact, I might just double move that so that's ready to go next turn over there. I could probably entrench them, but I don't see any need to. I don't think they're going to get attacked in the next turn. And we'll bring our little aircraft forward as well. Oh, actually, I should have probably put that down towards Belgrade. Ah, never mind. Oh, actually, I can undo that move. Yeah, we'll send that plane down towards Serbia, I think, and use that down there. So that's that. So that's the Western Front pretty much complete. Serbians, all their navy all done. Dropped ourselves some mines down there as well to stop any pesky Brits coming up. What else? That's about it, I think. Yep, that's kind of our setup for the opening salvo of the game. I'm going to end this episode here, and I'll press the game end button at the beginning of the next episode, and so you'll be able to watch the AI turn, and then we can kind of respond to that at the beginning of the next episode. So I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Please do comment on the game if you want to in the comments down below. Bung me a like if you enjoyed this episode and subscribe for more. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.